Why is your friend going to court to challenge the party's decision? One would have thought that there are internal mechanisms to be able to seek redress when these kind of things happen, when you are aggrieved about the conduct of an election in the party.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity of this discussion, and especially to get to know the nitty-gritty of why Dennis decided to go to court. In a democracy, it is better for you to chart the road to court and seek redress when you observe certain infractions or certain illegalities with respect to the conduct of an electoral exercise. And so in this case, with respect to the Edo scenario, there are quite a number of issues that we needed clarification, and we don't believe that internal mechanism of the party will suffice in terms of putting issues, in the true perspective of resolving some kind of stalemate that attended the February 17 and February 22nd primaries. And so the best thing to do as a Democrat and as someone who has the interest of the party is also to seek, a neutral arbiter, which the court represents. And that's why.
But you don't think that, Honorable Dennis Idahosa doesn't think that that's a disaster waiting to happen in the party, and perhaps something that might lead to the party not having a candidate to present?
No, the party will have a candidate to present. It's just unfortunate that quite a number of officers of the party, through their conduct, are given the president of the country some kind of embarrassment, because the president is one man who you can say any day that he's a Democrat. He believes in democracy. He is a product of the struggle. He's fought battles before, both in the law courts and on the democratic turf. And he understands the dynamics. And so when he's presiding over the country, and he's also expecting that leaders of the party, executives of the party, will live above board in conducting, very simple exercise of primaries. And the issue Dennis Idahosa is asking for is very simple. So if you declare that election was inconclusive, it means that there's already a foundation. And that foundation is the February 17th, which Dennis won. The February 17th is the foundation of your inconclusiveness, right? And so if Dennis won the February 17th, and you now later turn around to say it was inconclusive, then we will now ask you, to what extent was it not concluded? To what extent? So, is it because he hadn't been given certificate of return, that it was not concluded, or to what extent? So, and if you look at, let me just land, if you look at also the outcome, the entire members of the committee signed the results. INEC report was positive with that election. Every other person, there was no dissent amongst those who were chosen by the party, National Working Committee, to go and conduct the election, from Hope Uzodinma Basio to all down the line. They all signed and appended, and they reported that Dennis Idahosa won that election. And the chairman of the party even congratulated him.
All right. Let's make it clear for our viewers tonight.
Yes.
The issue for determination, which Dennis Idahosa is asking the court to define and to rule on, is whether the election of February the 22nd is a continuation or a standalone. Because he believes that if he had won on the 17th of February, and if the party said that it was a continuation, there was supposed to be added vote, and that he had gotten vote so high that Senator Okpebholo wouldn't have been able to assail in that election. But the question is, it is in the wisdom of the party to determine. The party has determined otherwise against Dennis Idahosa. So what has Dennis Idahosa gleaned from the appeals committee about whether or not it was a standalone? Did the party say it's a rerun or a standalone?
You see, while we are waiting for the court to take a definitive stand with respect to the verdict that will come out of that process, we also have to bear in mind that that particular election of February 17 validly elected Dennis Idahosa. If the party hierarchy now decided that it was inconclusive, or even if it was to be a standalone election on February 22nd, there are also procedure because you need to give INEC 7 days notice if you are going to do fresh election, which was not done. And if it was inconclusive, that means there was already a foundation laid, by the election, by the primaries of February 17th. And to that extent, we were expecting that, okay, you have to bring forward that result and marry it with whatever you did on the 22nd, of February, to produce a fresh result, if that is what you want to do. But in this case, you see, I think quite a number of persons deliberately wanted to give the party a bad name. It's quite unfortunate that this is the first major primary that will be conducted under a new chairman. And I think we need to begin to look inwards. And the president must intervene in this one, because to checkmate, and avert some kind of implosion that may come with respect to primary election conduct under the APC with the present leadership, because there are quite a number of underhand dealings that will not be healthy for us to be mentioning on television. But I know the president to be a man of a Democrat. He fought for his own primaries through a process where even they want to manipulate. He came out victorious.
So did money exchange hands in this?
So that
Mr. Afegbua, you said that there were underhand by the leadership.
At the appropriate time, we will chronicle what happened in Edo.
But you are signaling, you are indicating that corruption.
No, you see,
was involved in this matter.
Sheung, let us just put the facts in clear perspective. There was an election on the 17th. Dennis was declared validly elected. INEC concurred. Every other, the DSS concurred. Every other person concurred. The chairman gave a congratulatory message and all of that. And we're all jubilating and celebrating. Before we say Jack Robinson, 24 hours later, they said the election was inconclusive.
So you're implying that the process was corrupted?
Of course, if it wasn't corrupted, you wouldn't have this kind of stalemate.
So money exchange hands.
So
money exchange hands.
Corruption is not defined by money alone. It is defined by actions of individuals when they don't fall in line with the conditionalities of credible faith.
So let me ask you some quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did voting happen on the 22nd?
Voting?
Yeah, in that primaries.
Well, to a large extent, voting happened, but we didn't see the other aspirants.
All right, so the question...
I'm coming. And because we were trying to safeguard processes that we meant, so that we have evidence. We have video evidence, we have other physical evidence that we can present at any point in time. Because we didn't want to leave things to chance. But we were not too certain about what they were now doing when they got to Edo. Because they said inconclusive election. If it is inconclusive, like we had in the case of Oshun, under Adeleke and Oyetola, you will conclude by using the foundation.
So, Kasim, the question I was going to ask you is that there are those who insinuated that on the 17th, the results were not fully announced, and the rest of the results were there to be announced, and that was what was supposed to be announced on the 22nd. So if there were, and that's why I wanted to confirm from you, if there were actual voting on the 22nd.
Yeah, you see, Sheung, those who were saying that there was no announcement of results on the 17th, they were just trying to be clever by half. The point is that the members of the committee, chairman by Hope Uzodimma, and deputized by the Senator Basi Otuk, governor of Cross River State, and other 7 or 8 members did conduct and announce results. And don't forget, the party publicity secretary issued a statement saying that unauthorized announcement of result is hereby disclaimed. And that disclaimer put the issues into proper perspective.
There are those who said Ubuaja's appointment as electoral officer was a shot in the leg by the party itself.
Well, you see, the point is that the same party issued a statement to say, when it comes to announcement of results, which is just an item in the entire process.
So they disclaimed Ubuaja?
Yes, it was disclaimed. And they said it was Hope Uzodimma. And every member of Hope Uzodimma appended their signature on the final outcome of that result.
What is the implication of what is going on right now?
The implication is simply that the person that is presently being recognized by the party does not meet the requirement of being validly elected, because at the election of 17th of February, Honorable Dennis Idahosa won that election attested to by the members of the committee under the chairmanship of Pupils of Dema and secretary of that particular committee and other members of that committee. Nobody dissented. That means the party, the party has, has the responsibility to take that particular outcome.
Yes. In the petition and in the suits that is being filed by the lawyers to Mr. Dennis Idahosa, is also being argued that if you put the votes that Dennis Idahosa was announced in the first one,
and the second
one,
yes,
he would have won
the election.
Come ahead of Monday Okpebholo. But we'll see how they are able to argue that in court.
No, but you see, the point must be made very clear. If you say it was inconclusive, that is one leg of it. If you said, there was outright cancellation, which the National Working Committee doesn't have that kind of power to do anyway. If you say it's an outright cancellation, it's another leg altogether. If you say it was inconclusive, we want to know the extent to its inconclusiveness so that we can, properly situate our own.
So you're asking the party to seek redress. That's what you're saying.
We are telling INEC that in the interim, by the virtue of the letter we wrote to them, not to recognize whoever that is presented until the litigation filed for that purpose is fully dispensed with and justice is seen to be served to the appropriate winner of that particular election. And in this case, Dennis Idahosa will be. I'm very optimistic.
Very good friend.
Very optimistic.